Hello, traders. Welcome to another Performante podcast. This is episode 53, and holy shit, I'm sure everyone does kind of feel the pain and understand the reason for this podcast. The title does say it all. Are we now in a bear market? Since the high that we saw, which was around mid April, we've passed the 50% mark in terms of the drawdown, in terms of the pullback. Pretty unbelievable. Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for tuning in wherever you may be on planet Earth. I think everyone's on the same page that the crypto market has been taking the absolute fattest shit that we've seen in quite a long time. Bitcoin's off around over 50% from its highs. It looked like it had that long wick down to 28K, which is absolutely insane volume. I think all investors and traders alike can agree this is not a very friendly market to be putting positions in because there's such intense two-way volatility that at least me personally, I'm just looking to get spot positions. I'm not looking to trade on margin or leverage at this current moment because there is such a high level of uncertainty that realistically it could go either way. This is one of the most pivotal times in crypto that I think I've seen, where we've seen such a schema shift from bullish momentum at 65K to suddenly we basically got rug pulled by Elon and the other countless factors currently in the market.
Yeah, and just to add on to the over 50% move, if any viewers are watching the YouTube, we are currently illustrating the previous 2017 bull run that we had, where we haven't had a single 50% pullback. Every single bull run is different, but we haven't really seen that significant of a pullback during the previous bull runs. And I would really classify the previous bull run prior to the 2017 not really comparable to the one we're currently seeing right now, because we've seen such a progression and maturity of the entire crypto sphere and Bitcoin in general, with institutions and funds coming in instead of just the kind of I would say like individuals and more retail side of things. But around 33 to 40% was the average pullback that we saw when we were in our parabolic move in a bull run. What we see right now is definitely something, in my opinion, that surprises a tremendous amount of people, even ourselves. I didn't think that, yeah, breaking 50K, I think, would be a major level of support, but this was a monumental liquidation for a probably almost every single long on BTC that I can really think of here. If you've been long BTC with any amount of leverage, you are basically, unless you're leveraging 1 point something, which I don't think any trader would be. If you're in the two or more, you're basically liquidated. If you got in any time, let's say in like spring and on, which would be a significant amount of people. So I personally do still think that we are in a bull run. I think this is a opportunity after patiently waiting to ensure that we do have a support, we do have buyers coming in, we are getting a rebound, to be loading up on some of your favorite alts, to be staking them. I think if you haven't been in your favorite alts, now would be probably a good time to be looking at what's undervalued as of right now. So, what are your thoughts on this there, Nathan, in terms of the alts?
Yeah, 100%. I think long term, the trajectory of this bull market hasn't changed. This is just one hell of a shaking of the tree event. Personally, I think it is a big opportunity, and overall, we still have bullish momentum. Some of the alts that I am looking to pick up on this Black Friday discount, let's call it, I'm looking at BNB. Cake is a great buy because of that passive income opportunity. I've also been really interested in the Sol DeFi ecosystem, Solana. That's one to keep an eye on, in my opinion. And for the most part, can never go wrong with Bitcoin or Ethereum. Bitcoin still has a massive upside to get back to all-time highs. Same with Ethereum. And those are definitely the most iconic larger cap cryptos. So rather than going full degen mode and buying the dip on SafeMoon, Elongate, Bonfire, Ass, Hits, whatever shitcoin you may like, I think this is time where maybe you take more of a value crypto investing approach, if that term even exists, and try and keep your money in some of the larger cap cryptos rather than piss it down the toilet in some shit coins and hope that it all goes for the best. Because at the end of the day, we really don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know if we're in for a V-shaped recovery, if we already found the low and we're going to be back up above 45K in no time. the level of fear and uncertainty in the market is pretty much at all-time highs within 2021 and even in 2020, I would say. And so it's definitely the time to act cautiously. And at least personally, I'm not putting 100% of my free capital into purchases yet because I know that nobody knows what's going to happen, right? It could go lower. And at the end of the day, dollar cost averaging on events like this is a key idea. And if you are a person with a higher appetite for risk looking for margin and leverage positions, I personally would either scalp when it's super volatile going down or up and you get those small high frequency trades, or wait for a sign of reversal, wait for maybe a double bottom pattern, head and shoulders, something like that, and try and get a confirmation because ultimately I feel like just about any FUD from the fundamental side could shake the market, and that plus leverage is a very bad time.
Yeah, I very much agree, 100%. Kind of touching on to what you discussed in our previous podcast, looking at the BTC.D chart, the Bitcoin dominance. We did have that discussion where we were talking about it potentially gaining back some of that percentage because we were in like the kind of mid 40s range, and that is a key level of support for the Bitcoin dominance that we've seen back in 2017. In a bull market, we see alts take a lot of the market cap from BTC in terms of the overall market cap for the cryptocurrency market, and it just looked like it was in time for a pullback, referring to the BTC.D chart because it was overextended. We've seen weekly candles week on week on week where altcoin market cap is expanding greater and greater, like basically going parabolic but to the downside, basically what Bitcoin's doing right now. And that can't really survive forever. If we do see a pullback in the Bitcoin dominance chart, usually it's with a overall downward move in the cryptocurrency markets, because the time when Bitcoin gains back the dominance is when we see fear, uncertainty in the markets, kind of similar to what we saw from the early 2018 all the way into like the mid 2020. We saw Bitcoin take back that dominance that it lost throughout 2017, and we could see a little bit of that as well. And touching on what Nathan said about putting some capital into BTC and Ethereum, kind of like the blue chips of the cryptocurrency world compared to the smaller cap alts, makes sense because like we saw in the kind of November October time, Bitcoin dominance goes up initially when we're regaining that bullish sentiment and momentum, in my opinion, as well as what we've seen in the past, where in a kind of fear uncertainty time where a lot of people are hesitant, like we're seeing right now and in previous times, people usually either liquidate alts, put it into BTC, or if they're looking at actually investing in trading or like just basically allocating capital into cryptocurrency markets, they'll look at longer, I guess you could say, things that have stood the test of time in crypto world. Obviously, you can't look back at something 20 years because it wouldn't even be possible, but things that have stood the test of time like Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of the larger caps I think were definitely useful as well, like BNB's the largest cryptocurrency exchange. They have established themselves and cemented themselves as the, in my opinion, one of the best exchanges and platforms to actually use, not just for trading, but DeFi is also very useful there as well. So a lot of good things coming in terms of on sale, but I think those are some of the things that we do have to look at is the BTC.D chart and then allocating capital into things that have either cemented themselves or stood the test of time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we talked about it last episode, but I think Bitcoin dominance and the overall crypto market might stagnate for a little bit of a time while we form a base, consolidate, and kind of figure out where the bottom actually is. But when the crypto market does rebound, which I think it will sooner rather than later, we're going to be in the market for a Bitcoin bull run and kind of see Bitcoin take the market lead position just because we're near the hypothetical bottom of Bitcoin dominance. And overall, I feel the market is probably going to be less interested in speculating in volatile alts and perhaps more interested in speculating in Bitcoin. That being said, I feel like this crypto dump is just a invitation from Bitcoin to the rest of the new investors saying, welcome to the fucking show. I don't think many of the crypto noobs, let's call it, have experienced this level of volatility, and nor were they prepared for it. Just based off who DMs us on our Instagram account, who DMs us on our TikTok, who comments on our videos, it seems like people panicked. Maybe they panic sold and they weren't prepared for this level of volatility. Crypto is way more fun when it only goes up, but unfortunately, as per recent events, it doesn't always just go green dildo straight up nonstop for months. And at the end of the day, there is going to be some level of a retraction downwards, and that's totally what we've seen. And so I think this was a big shaking of the tree, really introduced some fear into the investors because at the end of the day, only the people who aren't in profit at this point in time bought between January 2021 and now. It's definitely some of the newer money, let's call it, that I think would be the deepest into the red, the ones who bought between, let's say, 40 and 65,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. Those are the ones who are hurting the most versus people like me and Keith that have been stacking longer term sub 20K. We've been around since 2016. We've seen the ropes. We understand how the market works. And I think it's the veterans who are kind of like, yo, welcome to the show. This is just some spicy volatility for everyone to enjoy versus the newer investors that are suffering some pretty big either unrealized or realized losses and recognizing the true volatility that comes with an emerging asset class like cryptocurrency.
Yeah, well said. I think that's a very phenomenal way to end it off. And for the people who are new, we've basically been in a non-stop push up with a slight pullback here and there, kind of since the late September, October range. So if you are a new trader, investor, hopefully you are able to learn a few things listening to our podcast, understanding that it does require a lot of confidence in the actual asset, and that's why understanding it and really seeing the value for what BTC is and Ethereum in this entire asset class is really important. So I would say, put your hands kind of away from the keyboard, go outside, go for a walk, try not to think about it. The time will pass. And if you are still a little upset, definitely you can either DM us on one of our many platforms and we can definitely have a discussion from there. So thank you very much for tuning in to our 53rd podcast, and I'll hand it over on to Nathan.
Appreciate the time you have taken to listen to us shit talk about crypto. Remember that sitting on your hands prevents fidgeting. This is not the time to be going balls deep on 100x long or 100x short. It's the time to act rationally, think for the long term, and ultimately make decisions that your future self will thank you for. Remember, the most amount of money in crypto is determined when you buy, that the sell points are relatively irrelevant. So always act with that long-term mindset. Always live to make tomorrow better. And that's true not only for investing, but for the way you live your life. So on that note, we can end this episode. Appreciate the time you've taken. Take care and stay safe out there, everyone.